Welcome to this month's Art Talk. Each month, Julie Schumer and I discuss what's happening in our businesses from the past month and just kind of chat about it in hopes that you'll find something helpful for your own art business. So, this is coming up to the time of year, usually early summer. So, May, early June. I take a look at all the galleries that I'm currently working with and I kind of reevaluate where things are. Where is my work still a good fit? Where is maybe my work no longer a good fit? And, then I have to consider, am I going to stay in that gallery? Am I going to leave that gallery? Am I going to look for a new gallery? So that's one of the things that I do kind of on an annual basis. What about you, Julie? Do you look at your own galleries?
I do, and I usually do it at the beginning of the year. And I have galleries in different locations where sometimes, like the summer is the high season for that gallery, or the winter is the high season for that gallery. So one has to evaluate how did they do in that season in the past year.
Right.
And it's hard to like break up with a gallery or divorce them, however you want to put it. But I think there's some things to consider in the way that you do that, which is to say that I wouldn't do it in an email, for example. It seems
No,
kind
no.
of cold and heartless, especially if you've had a really great relationship with that gallery. And the problem is they just haven't sold enough of the work, you know? I've had that situation happen and everybody was sorry and sad about it, but no bridges were burned. I could go back if I wanted to, you
Right.
know?
And
And I think that's a really important thing. I think some artists tend to get a little too agitated about what the result was, and that kind of interferes with them having a more, I guess, business appropriate conclusion to the relationship.
mhm.
Because they think it's the gallery's fault that things didn't work out, and so they're looking for somebody to blame, I think. Uh,
Right, right. And this is I always look at it as my galleries are part of my team.
right,
So we're all a team, and we're selling my work. And so um it's nothing personal, but it is a business relationship. So you have to
right.
treat it with respect and
Mhm.
as a respected member of your team. So you can't send an email. You need to be thinking about a phone call, a
Mhm.
conversation.
Or a personal visit if
Yeah,
that's
better
feasible.
better in person if you're able to do it. And
Mhm.
having a sit down and kind of talk about what's happened and why you're feeling like
Right,
it's no longer a good fit. And they in that discussion, the gallery, may agree with you, or they may say, well, we just, put some of your work in a big project, let's wait a few more months.
right.
There might be a discussion that, about the timeline.
Well,
So,
it may reveal things that you didn't know about that
right.
they haven't shared with you because they're busy with everybody else too.
Yeah, right. You're not the only artist that they work with. So it's
Mhm.
important to really be respectful of their process and their business and not, not burn the bridge because I think this is kind of a small world, right? Many
Yeah,
gallery owners know one another. And so how you exit, I think, is just as important as how you entered into the relationship at the
right.
beginning.
And I think that's true, even if there's a reason, like a negative reason why you're leaving, which is to say you didn't get paid, or you were constantly having to beg them for the money, which becomes annoying after a period of time.
Mhm.
And so, there's a more of a feeling that they've done something wrong that is destroying this relationship. Even I've had that happen too. And it was locally, and I was able to go in there and explain why. And then I followed up with an email, kind of just setting the record straight as to why I was doing it. So there'd be no question, in terms of that for the future.
No, and that's a great point. And putting it in writing is also important. So,
Mhm.
not only meeting in person, but a follow-up email to kind of say, here's what we discussed. This is the plan and then, move forward accordingly.
Right. And I think it's important to have a plan in terms of, how are you going to get your work back? When are you going to get your work back? Is there a contract in place, hopefully, that says who has to pay for getting the work back if it's at a distant location? Because
Right.
then
And
you have to kind of navigate that whole scenario.
right. And that contract may also state how you exit. It might be that you have to give notice in writing and then in a particular amount of time. So it might say something like you have to give 2 months notice
Right.
if you're exiting this agreement, kind of thing. So that's something to pay attention to as well.
Right. It's never fun to have to exit a gallery, but I
No.
think doing it with equanimity and grace is always the best plan.